They say your best friend is the one person you can trust with your life. It's a powerful idea, almost sacred, isn't it?
It really is.
We open up, we share our deepest fears, our wildest dreams, or just completely confident that this one person really gets us,
Yeah.
understands us, and would never, ever deceive us.
Mm.
We lean on them, celebrate with them, and we just implicitly believe they're like this rock of truth in our lives.
Yeah.
But what if the person closest to you, the one you've shared absolutely everything with since, like, forever? What if they were living a double life?
Mm.
What if, despite that really deep connection, everything they told you about a huge part of their life was just a lie, a carefully built lie?
Well, what's striking here, I think, is how often we operate under this assumption of complete transparency in our closest bonds.
Right.
We sort of forge this almost unconscious psychological contract in friendships,
Yeah.
especially with a best friend, that just presumes honesty and openness are the bedrock.
Totally. It's like the ground rules.
Exactly. And this implicit agreement, it creates a profound vulnerability,
Hmm.
one that becomes incredibly exposed,
Yeah.
really raw, when that assumption of transparency is, well, fundamentally challenged.
Yeah.
The emotional weight of finding something like that out is immense, precisely because of that deep, almost existential trust we put in initially. It's not just, a breach of confidence. It feels like a shattering of your reality.
Absolutely. Shattering is the right word. And today, we're taking a deep dive into a powerful, real-life account that delves right into that unsettling discovery, finding out a friend's profound secret, and the complex, messy cascade of emotions that just unravel when the truth finally comes to light. It's a story that really forces us to question the foundations of what we believe about loyalty, about truth, and our most intimate connections.
Yeah.
And how even deception that's, maybe well-intentioned can leave these indelible marks.
And our mission in this deep dive isn't just to look at the what of this secret, the specific events that happened,
Right.
but really to explore the intricate why it was kept. Why did Emily feel she had to lie? And the devastating impact it had on this really cherished, long-standing friendship. And ultimately, what this intensely personal journey teaches us about trust, perception, and the often hidden layers within even our most intimate connections.
Yeah.
We'll be looking at the subtle signs that started popping up, the suspicions that grew into this painful certainty, the moment of truth, and then the complex kind of enduring aftermath of such a discovery.
Okay.
This narrative really shows, I think, that in these murky waters of family loyalty, good intentions don't just cancel out the corrosive power of secrets. They just make the emotional landscape of the betrayal even more complicated.
Okay, let's unpack this story then. It starts with a friendship that really on the surface seemed absolutely perfect, almost idyllic,
Yeah.
Our narrator and her friend, Emily, they'd been best friends since childhood. Just think about that for a second. A bond forged over decades, not just a few years.
That's a long time. A lot of shared history.
Exactly. They grew up together, navigated all those awkward teen years, celebrated the wins, comforted each other through heartbreaks. They were like practically inseparable. Their connection was so deep that the narrator explicitly says they knew everything about each other. And I think a lot of us can relate to that feeling about that one friend.
Well,
Friends.
definitely. That sense of complete openness.
Yeah. They spent countless weekends together, binging shows like it was their job, pulling all-nighters studying, and crucially, they shared secrets no one else knew.
Mm.
These weren't just trivial things. These were the intimate whispers, the fears, the hopes, the vulnerabilities that really bind people together.
Yeah, the deep stuff.
Right. So this wasn't just casual. This was deep, unquestioning trust, a bedrock of intimacy where it felt like nothing was off limits. It set this really high baseline for what they believed their friendship was. Total honesty, total transparency.
A baseline that's about to be seriously challenged.
Exactly, because even in this seemingly unbreakable bond, there were, well, cracks. Small, almost imperceptible shifts that, looking back, were the first tremors, like faint echoes before the storm hits. Our narrator, she was attentive. She started noticing these subtle inconsistencies. Like, for instance, Emily had this persistent, almost tangible reluctance to talk about her family.
Right.
Whenever the topic came up, there was always this consistent avoidance, a quick deflection, a hurried change of subject. It wasn't just being private. It felt like actively guarding that part of her life.
Like a wall.
Yeah, exactly. And the narrator initially overlooked it, maybe thought, oh, she's just private, didn't want to push, didn't want to assume anything bad,
Right. Give her space.
Then there were Emily's unexplained disappearances on weekends. Just Gone. No details ever provided, just a vague sense of being away.
No explanation.
None. And what's really fascinating is how the narrator's mind worked back then. She brushed it off, she rationalized the behavior. There was this powerful, almost protective belief going through her head. Why would she lie to me?
Yeah, that core assumption again.
Right. It's such a human tendency, isn't it? To give our loved ones the benefit of the doubt, to see their actions in the best possible light, especially when the alternative, the idea they might be lying, is just so unsettling.
Absolutely. Our minds almost become unintentional architects of our own blind spots in those moments. We want to believe the best.
We really do.
And, the truly arresting insight here isn't just about cognitive dissonance itself, but how our innate desire for harmony can become this active barrier to truth in our closest relationships.
Harmony over truth.
Sometimes, yeah, cognitive dissonance, that mental strain of holding contradictory beliefs at the same time. It's powerful.
Right.
So the narrator believes, my best friend is totally honest, but the evidence starts showing my best friend is secretive about big parts of her life. Holding both is uncomfortable. So our minds naturally try to reduce that discomfort. And often the easiest path is to rationalize away the inconsistencies rather than face them head on.
Yeah. Smooth things over in your own head.
Yeah, exactly. To accept a close friend might be dishonest. Challenges our whole idealized picture of the relationship. And that feels destabilizing, almost threatening. So we resist that discomfort. There's a powerful psychological inertia there, this deep-seated desire to maintain harmony, avoid conflict, especially in relationships we really cherish. It can lead us to ignore what later look like glaring red flags. We don't want to rock the boat. We don't want to sound accusatory. And honestly, we often don't want to find out something that might wreck the relationship.
Yeah, the fear of finding out is real.
So we make excuses, we minimize, we justify. The mind builds this protective bubble around the friendship to keep it feeling okay, constructing a narrative that lets us keep things as they are.
Yeah.
So a good question for all of us maybe is, how many times have we ourselves overlooked things?
Yeah.
In our own relationships, a friend's odd behavior, a partner's vague answer, a family member acting weirdly secretive, just because the alternative truth felt too unsettling to confront, too messy to investigate.
That's a tough question.
It is. It's a pretty universal human thing, I think, to sometimes prioritize emotional comfort over the potentially painful clarity of truth, especially when it involves someone we deeply care about.
Indeed. It's sobering to think how our own defenses can kind of blind us, sometimes for a long time. But the story doesn't let that comfort last forever, does it?
No, eventually reality tends to intrude.
Right. As these subtle inconsistencies piled up, that quiet hum of denial eventually gave way to something louder, more discordant, an undeniable sense of unease. The small shifts started to intensify, becoming too stark, too frequent, just too strange to ignore anymore.
Okay, so things escalate.
Big time. Our narrator describes a really noticeable change in Emily's demeanor. She developed this newfound nervousness, an anxious undercurrent that just wasn't typical for her usually cool, collected friend.
Like a constant tension.
Exactly. A tangible shift. Tension in her shoulders, darting eyes, just this low-level apprehension that seemed to follow her everywhere. It wasn't just a bad mood. It was this sustained, unsettling emotional state. Then came the late-night phone calls. And these weren't casual chats, the kind you have with your best friend. No. Emily would get these disruptive calls late at night, and she'd always rush outside, often to like a specific secluded spot to answer them.
Outside. Always.
Always outside. The secrecy around these calls just added this layer of urgency and, heightened mystery to everything. Why couldn't she talk inside? Why physically remove herself from her best friend, the person she supposedly knew everything about?
Yeah, that alone is a huge red flag. Very suspicious behavior.
Right. It would spark concern in anyone. And if that wasn't enough, there was